This is Todd Toback, and welcome to today's show. We have an awesome guest, Justin Grau. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Todd. Great to be here.
Before we hop in today's episode, you got to hear someone who's been involved in real estate for about a year and has done 10 deals from all the way from flipping to wholesaling real estate, and I think even innovation. So we'll talk about some of those. But before we hop in today's show, if you have not downloaded a copy of our motivated seller script, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you could download a copy of the very same script that we use to talk to motivated sellers to negotiate. If you've ever wondered what to say or how to say it, got to download the script. Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script completely for free. So, Justin, welcome again.
Yeah, thank you, Todd.
So tell us a little bit about your story. I mean, in 60 seconds or less, how did you get started in real estate?
Well, I was watching some friends doing a lot in real estate, and I got tired of sitting on the sidelines. So last year I decided to jump in and did a lot of research and finally got started in March.
So what was your breaking point? I mean, what made you decide to get in? You know, obviously doing something before, right? There was maybe a turning point or a pain or an excitement. What was that?
Yeah, actually, my wife has some ongoing issues and stuff, and she might have 10 years, she might have 5 years of work left, and so I really love real estate, and I was tired of watching everyone doing being successful from the sidelines, and I said, well, I gotta make a change for our family life, and so I might as well do something I'm passionate about.
That's awesome. So you've basically decided, hey, I've got to make up about a decade's worth of income here and make it fast.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Let me comment a little bit on that. I think sometimes, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is hurtful for some people if they can't spurt into action, right? But then if you can use that sometimes to fuel you, man, it is a good motivator. So I'm really glad that you shared that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you started from, okay, I want to make the change. I want to compress my timeline here. I want to make more money. It sounds like you wanted to retire, have your wife be able to retire when she wanted to retire with some of her issues. How did you get started, from zero to doing that first deal?
Well, I'd actually been kind of watching YouTube and doing all the book reading for a couple years, just waiting for the time where it finally broke, I guess, where I finally said, I'm doing something today. And at that point I kind of already had an idea that I need to do a couple things. I need to find how to get leads so I can do off-market deals. I need to start connecting with wholesalers, and I need to get a mentor to help guide me and basically shortcut the process.
Right. Okay. So what was the first thing that you did?
Yeah, the first thing I did was go after trying to find leads.
Okay. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I want everyone to pay attention here. Okay. Because Justin's done 10 deals in the past year. And the first thing that you need to do is not generate a business card. It's not get a website, not brand, not do a logo. Okay. But to generate leads. Okay. Justin, you complete me. I mean, like, I could end the podcast right now. Okay. Because that's pretty much 95% of what you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if you're listening to this, if you're like, oh, I'm just so stuck and I'm overwhelmed and what do I do? Look, you got to generate motivated seller leads. Okay. And this is it. So I don't even know how we did it yet. We're going to ask here, Justin, in a minute, but I think that's the most important thing. So how do you decide to generate leads?
Yeah. So I don't like cold calling. I'm not great on the phone. So I looked at ways to get incoming leads. I had a decent income, so I said, well, I'll put a couple $1,000s for a few months. And I started with an agency on Facebook ads, and that fell on its face. Just their support and how they were setting everything up just was bad. It wasted a couple months of my time. I found radio. I said, okay, well, let me do this radio thing. And, I was off to the races from there.
Okay, so you started advertising on the radio. What was your budget to advertise on the radio?
Uh, it was about $3,700 a month.
Okay. And did you think about, okay, for every $3,700 I spent on the radio, how many deals you want to do, or what the return that you needed to go? What was the number?
Yeah, I was hoping to do one deal a month.
Okay. That's a great goal, right? Is there any kind of like minimum that you said, hey, I want the deal to be 15, 20, 30, $50,000, $100,000?
No, the size of the deal didn't matter. What mattered to me was the risk in the deal.
Okay. You mean basically if what you had to lose if you didn't get a deal?
Yeah. So it was more the how, if there was a risk of loss, like did I have enough margin there that I could get rid of it in multiple ways?
Understood. Okay, so you started advertising on the radio, right? I mean, how long did it take for the leads to stop or just start coming in?
So basically March 1st, really the last week of February, and then I got my first deal in middle of May.
Okay, so March, April, May, so about 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so you're spending about $3,700 a month. It's 2 or 3 months, right? You haven't done a deal in May, because I'm going to basically talk about the elephant in the room here, right? This is like where it's go time, because everyone's like, oh crap, I haven't done a deal, right? Tell us about those first 90 days and how you felt investing this money yet not seeing a return.
Yeah. So, the phone calls start coming in pretty much right away from the radio. They kind of ramp up over time as people keep hearing you. So I just knew it was going to fall at some point,
Right.
So it's just about staying committed. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight. And I had a certain amount of money. I said, well, I could do this for 6 months. Maybe I put a little bit on the credit card, pay a little bit with cash, and we're just gonna see this thing through.
Okay, so day 90 happens. Finally, by the way, I just love the way, because when you get those leads, very few actually turn into a deal initially, right? I mean, everyone loves a laydown. Laydown is someone who you call them like, yeah, I want to sell my house. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go. Come on over. I'll sell it to you for 50 cents on the dollar, which, hey, who wouldn't want one of those every day?
Yeah.
But the reality is, right, is that, they trickle in and people have various levels of motivation. You have to nurture them, right? So I'm assuming the deal that you did, was it a nurtured lead? Like, did it come in kind of in the beginning, or was it a laydown?
Yeah. It took about 3 weeks to work through it. I'd say it was pretty close to a laydown as you get without it being like deals done.
Right. But 3 weeks, that's still a nurture, right? So you did the deal. Tell us about the motivated seller, and, what was the problem? How'd you lock it up?
Yeah. So she was 5 years behind in taxes, and that's about the time they can foreclose in the state of Nebraska, depending on how things lined out with tax auctions and stuff.
Mhm.
So she knew she needed to get out of the house. She had pets, and they had pooped and peed all over the house. It was pretty bad. I mean, she kept if you just walked in and didn't smell it, you'd think at first it was an okay house, cleanliness wise, but man, it was a disaster from a pet perspective. So she just needed to get out of the house and moved on.
Okay. So what did she want for the house? How much did you offer her? Kind of what was that initial conversation like? What was it worth?
Yeah. So, I walked in, it was probably about 30,000 on the bone when I first walked in and thought about it. We did inspection, some further negotiation, and it ended up being a little bit more work after the inspection than we thought it might be. And so we ended up down about 15,000 off that initial price. And turned out that a house sold right after I purchased that down the street. These were duplexes sold as single family units. And that one sold for like $30,000 above what the going market rate had been. So that really moved up my my price point on that. So I ended up working out pretty well on that first deal.
So what'd you buy it for, or what'd you sell it for?
So I bought it for 87 and I sold it for 215.
What? Okay. So 97, no, I'm sorry, 87, 187. Let's call it $1.35. Look, no one said I was a mathematician here, but is that about right?
Yeah, I was pretty close to that. There was a good bit of rehab that ended up needing to go into it, though.
Okay. Oh, so you rehabbed it a little bit.
I sure did. Yeah.
Okay. So how much did you put into the property?
I think I put about 57,000 into it.
Okay. So you put about 57 into it. So hey, let's call it 60 or a $70,000 profit after keeping it in the buy-in, the money
Yeah.
and the turn, all that other stuff. Hey, not a bad day.
No, it paid for all my marketing for the year, so I was good with it.
That's awesome. So if anyone's listening to this, the way that I look at marketing is like, okay, took about 3 months, right? Or 4 months. And so you had about 4 times 3, or I'm sorry, let's call it $4,000 a month, 4 months. You're looking at about $16,000 in marketing spend for about $60,000 in profit. And I'll take those numbers all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure will.
So obviously the first deal is the biggest, right? You've got 9 deals after that. Have those all been radio?
One wholesale and the rest radio.
Okay. So the wholesale, I'm sorry. So when you say
Wholesaler to me.
Oh, a wholesaler to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So sounds like radio is really, really working for you in Nebraska. So everyone take note there. But the other one, let's talk about the wholesaler, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like a wholesaler brought you a deal, right? How did you get in? And I love that, because not only do we love to wholesale, but you can actually wholesale a wholesale or buy a deal from a wholesaler, right? So how did that work out with you getting the deal from a wholesaler? How'd you meet him, and what was that negotiation like?
I just ended up on his list. Someone who posted on Facebook a year ago and said, hey, want to be on my list. And so I just get the emails from time to time from them as they have deals they put out. So they don't just wholesale, they also flip and hold and do some stuff too. And so I saw this property and it looked good to me. So I went and walked it and put an offer in on it. And I ended up being the best offer.
Nice. So did you buy and hold that? Did you buy and flip it? Did you wholesale that?
It's a flip. It's getting listed on the market Thursday.
Okay. And what do you think you'll make on that?
I should make about 80,000 after fees.
Okay. Hey, beats a sharp stick in the eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have you done any, I think you said, have you done any innovation deals yet?
No, unfortunately in Nebraska, just the laws they have, you can't technically wholesale, and no one will list a house, even if you've got a power of attorney.
Okay. So I'll give you a little tip, by the way. One thing that you can do if they won't list the house is you can actually have the seller sign a listing agreement. So that's one thing that you can do. That's a little hack there. So one of the things I always tell everybody is don't ask, don't get. And everyone's like, why the heck would a seller sign a listing agreement? Because you're there and you're asking, and you're the most convenient option. I'm sorry. So go ahead.
No, that was it. So
Yeah.
that's why I haven't done one yet.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, next recording, I would love to see how that goes. I've had sellers agree to things where, I've even scratched my head, and, sometimes we do things in the name of speed and convenience. And I'm always reminded of that, it's interesting. I was actually doing a recording, and I normally go to a studio and to do these. And our audio engineer actually is on maternity leave right now. And my wife had a clogged drain upstairs, and I'm here recording, and the drain guy comes and he quotes my wife like 400 or $450 to do the drain. And long story short, my wife comes in and he's like, it's 450. And she's like, that's, too much. And I'm like, just do it, because guess what? I'm recording a podcast and I'm not dealing with it. And now's the time. And so I totally got ripped off in the name of convenience. Right now, to me, it was totally worth it. Right. I didn't want when I say ripped off, I agreed to pay a lot more for speed and convenience. So I always have everyone, listen to this, is that sellers, they need us and we offer a valuable service. So let me ask you a question here, Justin. Now, if everyone's who's listening, if you had to give a piece of advice for somebody trying to get started or do their next deal or start to grow, what would that be?
So 2 pieces of advice is leads. And then the second is find a mentor, whether it's paid or not, somebody's going to help shortcut you. And it's both of those things, focusing on those 2 things that made a world of difference.
Awesome. That being said, Justin, I really want to thank you for being on the show. If you guys are interested in coaching, or you actually want an assessment to assess where your business is and you're looking for that very next step, you can go to nextlevelwholesaling.com. There's an assessment there where you can actually rate yourself in the 4 core areas of your business, and I'll actually spit out kind of like a score for you, and I'll tell you the very next thing that you need to do to take your business to the next level. Justin, where can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out, maybe joint venture with you in your market, or maybe they want to be a vendor for you? How can they find you?
Yeah, I think the best way is just my email. It's pretty simple. It's justin@sellyourpropertyfast.com.
All right, Justin at sellyourpropertyfast.com.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, Justin. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Todd. Have a good one.